Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock on a Sunday, which means it's time for a review show special. This is where I take a particular product or a particular creator or a particular company and I do a deep dive and talk about absolutely everything to do with that product or that company. And today, I'm trying something a little bit different. Today, I'm actually going to do two review show revisiteds into one. Okay, and I thought I'd just try this to see how it goes. I'm always trying to adapt stuff and change stuff up on the channel, and I thought this would be a really nice idea. So there's two particular tricks that I'm going to be talking about, and the nice thing for you guys is with each one of these two tricks I'm going to be talking about, I'm doing a mini interview with the creator about that prop. So the first thing that I'm going to be looking at is a new item by Brook. So if you don't know who Brook is, he's one of the top mentalists in the world. And I interviewed him a couple of weeks ago on Talk Magic. He's got a new thing out, which is incredible. It's a photo that you can have on your phone, which allows you, as long as you've got your phone, to do a killer piece of mind reading. We're going to look at that. I'm also going to look at Twister by Danny Weiser. Now, Twister is the new routine by Danny Weiser. Dan has actually gone on record as saying it's one of his favorite things that he's ever created. And this is a guy that's very prolific and has created a lot of magic that a lot of magicians use. And this is basically the concept of a Sharpie being molded into a Sharpie dog. So I'm going to look at both of those and I'm going to do an interview with both of them. See how this works. Let me know what you think of the format. I might revisit this again. Like I said, I'm always trying to change things around here on Magic TV. So I'm going to run with this week. Let me know what you think. Let's start off with Brook. So like I said, Brook is one of the top mentalists in the whole of the world. He has literally written the book on magic. Mentalism, and then he's written the book again and 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 again. And if you don't already do so, please do this. Go onto Paul's website and go and get all of the free stuff. He's got tons of free stuff on his website that you can get just for signing up to his mailing list. And some of it is amazing, like fully thought out routines that he could charge money for that he's just giving away for free. It's one of the best deals in magic right now, in my opinion. So go do that. So this is Paul's new item. And I'm going to run an interview with him for a second, but let me give you an overview. So what this is a single image that Paul has designed. And the image has absolutely tons of different pictures in it, of different places that you could go and travel to. And the idea is that you have this on your phone and you give the phone to your spectator and you say, look, I've got this picture here. And you basically tell them to zoom in and look at any destination they want to. There's a little bit more to it than that, but I don't want to give the method away. You basically just tell them to zoom in and look at any particular destination they want to. You can then get them to switch the phone off, keep hold of the phone. They don't have to give it back to you. And then you immediately can tell them the destination that they're thinking of with no fishing whatsoever. It's very, very clever. Now, in a bit, I'm going to do a full performance of it for you. But before I do the full performance, let's have a chat with Brook so you can actually hear from the man himself what he thinks of the trick. Spoiler, he likes it, as you would imagine. But let's hear from Paul, and then we'll bring it back into the studio and give it a full review. So I'm here with Paul Brooks. Thank you so much, Paul, for jumping on the channel. How you doing? You okay?
Yeah, Craig. Yeah, great. Thanks. How about yourself?
I'm good, and I'm super excited because I've never done a review on any of your material before, despite being a fan of your material. Never done a review on any of your stuff before, and you've got this brand new routine that's just come out. It's called Mental Tours. It's now available directly on your website, your shop website, which is heknows.co.uk.
That's great.
And you're obviously known as a creator of mentalism. You've written something like, I think that last count, 45 billion books on mentalism, I think, is that?
Yeah, it's rounded down, I think, but yeah.
But this is not a book. This is like a standalone product.
Yes.
That's designed. This is something that will work for close-up magicians as well as mentalists, right? Can you shine some light on exactly what this is, and virtually as well? Yes, what is it? What is mental? What is it? What is mental to us?
I'm going to give you the broad strokes first, and then we can dive into a bit more detail.
Okay.
It is an image that goes on your phone. as long as you've got a smartphone, I mean, it doesn't have to be the most modern phone in the world, but as long as it's a phone that you can view an image and zoom in on an image, you can absolutely use mental tours. So you get a single high resolution image.
Mhm.
It has 64 countries on that image. You have the spectator freely choose any one of those images, and you can tell them without guesswork. You will know 100% and be able to tell them what country or location they're thinking of. And here's the cool thing, you can do it multiple times, or if you wanted, which would be probably my preference, you would have four people say do it all together at the same time, and then you can go boom 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 and tell them each the country or location they're thinking of. I mean, it's not bad. I
Just
mean,
from one image.
1 in 64, no fishing, no messing, one image. Just think about that. It's better than a deck of cards, and you don't have to carry a deck of cards. So it's two positives already.
That's crazy. Just to give people a frame of reference, I haven't actually watched this product yet. When we cut back to the studio, I'm going to have watched it and learned it and delved into it. So I'm going to be more educated in the next part of this video. But at this point here now, I don't know what this is. I don't know how it works. And to be honest, Paul, it sounds like a miracle. I mean, you're telling me
cool.
that I can just have an image sat on my phone. I can have
Yes.
multiple people look at that image and freely think of a country. And with no fishing, I can tell them the countries that they're thinking of.
Yes.
Damn.
Yeah, it's not bad for one image when you consider. So what you get when you purchase is a steak knife. No, you don't. There's no steak knife. What you get when you purchase is you get the main image, which goes on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
You get a secondary image that you can send out to virtual shows, or if you want to do this, like for example, if we were doing this right now, I could put this image on my website on a password protected section of the site, send you that link, and get you to choose it on your phone, on your device. Again, if you wanted to do that doing your close-up work, you could do that. Again, if anyone just wants to distance themselves from using your own phone as a performer,
if they looked at that image later on, would they detect the method?
No.
Wow.
There is very. So if this is with the second image that you send. If you the first image, you might be able to. They are the same image. It's just there's a bit more to the first image that I can't say too much without giving away the method.
Yeah. Okay.
but the second image is way more safer to send to this second. To send to the virtual audience. Or just to anyone that you want to send it to, or have it on your website as a password protected section. And then when you get to your close-up gig, you can have people pull that up, put the password in, and then they can look at it on their device.
So could I put that image, for example, on something like Instagram, and at a walk around gig, go up to people and go, hey, can you go on, have you got Instagram on your phone? Can you go on Instagram for me? Type in Craig Petty. Yeah, that's my profile. Do you see a problem with it? You're not following me yet. There you go. Thank you. There's a follow-up. And say, can you scroll down? Do you see that image there? Can you zoom in on it? Would that be possible? Would using that second image?
It's actually really interesting that you've mentioned that. I have a friend who I sent this to when I released it, and he said he originally said, "Can I use it on Insta?" And I said, "Right, I haven't used it on Insta." And my issue originally was it's a high definition image that you download, and that enables the person to zoom right in so that they can. Basically, it means I can get more country images on that image. That's the real reason for it. So I worried that if you put that on Instagram, you might have a bit of lossiness because of the JPEG compression. But he said that he tried it and he didn't seem to have a problem with it. So it's Chris Jonah, if anyone wants to know, if you buy this and you on the idea that you can do it on Instagram and can't for whatever reason, it's Chris Jonah you need to look for. But no, I think it is possible. And I think Chris actually said something about restricting access so that you can actually give them access and take it off with Instagram. But again, that's not something that I'm particularly au fait with, but yeah, I think it is possible.
Okay, that's really interesting. And
you can definitely have it on your website. You can definitely have it on your own phone. I mean, you could literally get your phone right now. I could load it up. That's just going to be completely blown out. You won't see anything. I could hand you that if we were in person, and you could make all the choices. Again, the nice thing is there is no fishing. You just tell them exactly what country they're thinking of, which is just so powerful. for one
Yeah,
image
well,
that sits on your
it's
phone.
like one thing that people talk about on my channel all the time is they're always asking about everyday carry, stuff that you can carry with you. And because I hate that moment, I don't know about you, where you're a magician or a mentalist and somebody goes, "Oh, you're a mentalist, show us something," and you go, "I've got nothing on me." I genuinely believe that if you're a performer, you should have something on you that looks organic. So you don't want to pull out a chopped up or a little rabbit. You want to be able to have something. Oh, let me show you this then. Let me do this. Sounds like the perfect everyday carry trick that you can literally have it sitting on your phone. And if you want to do it and you're on the spot and you've got nothing on you but a phone, you can literally go, boom, let me show you this.
And yeah, absolutely, and not just in a one-to-one close-up environment, but imagine if you've got 4 people on stage or a parlor, you could improvise and you could have 4-person revelation, which is taking it even bigger. You've got 4 people on stage, you're dressed in the stage with people, which fills it out, makes it a little better. I mean, if you're doing a stage show, you're probably going to have your stage show with you, but there are those times where you've been booked to do walk around and the stage performance doesn't turn up. It might be a musician, it might be a comedian, an MC. They're just late, or they need 5 minutes to fill. You could get 5 minutes out of this easily, quite comfortably.
Wow, that's incredible.
And the great thing is, it's fun as well. Let me just tell you, the actual image is really colourful because it's got locations from around the world, but I've built in colour into the actual image in a way, and it actually says mental tours on the actual image. And the whole idea is that you're going to take a mental tour. So we're going to go anywhere in the world. Now, it just so happens it works with COVID, but you can the presentation is along the lines of, we've been stuck at home. Imagine you could travel to anywhere in the world. Well, we're going to go there right now. So you have the person make their choice, and if you want to do this as the presentation, you could say, I want you to imagine that place in your mind. I want you to see as many things and elements from this place, even if you've not been there. Just imagine what they're like, and then you can start naming those elements. I mean, really, you could just write down the location and show it to them. This is just an alternate presentation, but then you could tease it out of them. So you can say, oh, I'm getting the sound of car horns. I can smell like almost steam coming up. I've got tall buildings. Yes, I can see it. I'm right in your mind right now, and I think you're thinking of. Are you thinking of New York, the Big Apple, and they freak out or whatever? And yeah, that's a potential presentational hook for this. But you're having fun with people. It's not just a case of you could just write it down and show them, but you can have a bit more fun with this. And it's locations. It's people might end up somewhere they've actually been, rather than just having a random location. But they might end up at a random location as well. So that's interesting in itself, because you can ask them, have you been there? No. Imagine what it's like. What do you think it's like? You've got all these inroads and questions that you can have. Or again, if you want it just fast, wham bam, thank you ma'am, it's just take the phone, have a look, you got an image? Yeah, you're thinking of Rome. Bang. It can be that quick. It can literally be that quick.
Wow. That's great. Is there any memory work? Is it easy to do?
Zero memory work. What you get, I was on, this all came about what you get. So you get those 2 images, the one to keep on your phone, the one for other people's phone. You get a PDF instructional, which guides you through everything in precise detail with a lot of subtleties. Don't miss out on the PDF, guys. I hide things in my writing because I think people that read, they get that bit of information extra. They put in the work to read it instead of just watching the video. They should be rewarded. So make sure you read through the PDF. Also, you get a overview video. So the overview video is about 9 minutes long. And once you've watched that overview video, you will know everything you need to perform. When you read the PDF, you'll pick up the subtleties. You'll find out the cool presentation that you can use with it. But that 9-minute video, after you've watched that 9 minutes, you'll be able to do this immediately.
So it's like a quick start guide, so you can
that's exactly what it is.
That's perfect. That's great. So one other question, mine's racing with this, by the way. Could you, for example, and let me give you an example. So let's say I'm doing a confabulation, and the confabulation requires me to know a country that a spectator is thinking of for whatever reason, and I'm going to predict a meal that's going to be forced later on in a particular country, and I'm going to do double writing, or whatever it may be. Can I find that information out, not reveal it, and then use it in another routine that
means that I've got this information that I don't. So they have a free choice, a seemingly free choice of any country, and that can then be used as the basis of going into another routine or into like a one ahead thing. If I wanted to do a one ahead thing, because I'm not a mentalist, I do mental magic, but I love one ahead. And the thing I always hate, and I don't know about you, is when I see mentalists go, think of this absolutely impossible thing for me to know. Perfect. Yes. Now think of this incredible, impossible thing for me to know. Great. Now,
think of one color of
as I riffle down the deck, say, yeah, and it's just like, well, that went crap quite quickly, didn't it? This sounds like a great thing to build into a routine like that.
Because perfect for a confabulation, as you say, as the quote unquote weak element.
Yeah, that's
totally
awesome. That's awesome, and it's on your phone.
Imagine you get 2 or 3 people, and you could even confuse them. This could confuse them. I mean, it should confuse them anyway, and they shouldn't be able to work out how you're able to do this. But it's just on your phone. There's no app. There's no signals being sent. All you need to see is the image. But imagine if you got 3 people thinking of 3 different locations, and you know which one each one's thinking of. And then when people come up, or when you do your selection of people for that final person, if you select those 3 to stand up, or in whichever way, I mean, if you're doing overt pre-show, you can say, I spoke to some people earlier, I asked you to think of a location. Please stand up, but only stand up if you 100% know there's no way for me to know the location you're thinking of. So the 3 stand up because you've asked them, and they know there's no way for you to absolutely know what the location is. You can then have the audience choose which one comes up, and then you can have the other 2 people reveal their locations, and then it can be completely different from the location on stage.
That's great. Seriously, my mind is racing with this. I imagine if you've got your phone on you, if you've got something like digital force bag, you could have a list of 100 countries in there. And on a man and a woman, you could say, let's do this. Let's see if your minds are in sync. Can you do me a favor? I've got an image here. Think of a country. Brilliant. Now you, sir, I've got a list of 100 countries. I'm just going to open up this list. Give me a number. Can you look at the country on that number? On the count of 3, I'd like you to name your countries at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, how, and it's on your phone anyway, you know, the picture and the list.
Better, digital force bag on your phone, but you send them to the web to your website on their phone. So it happens almost at the same time. You know, one's holding your phone, the other one's just on your website with the image, or you send them the image on, you know, WhatsApp or some social media platform. Or if you send them if you send it to someone on Dropbox, you can revoke access from that on Dropbox, so that even if they go back to that link, they won't see it.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
So there's a lot. This, it's not just a trick. It is a trick. It works well as a trick, but it's a potential tool, as you've easily, like within seconds of talked to you about this, even though you don't know what the method is, you realize that the power of the effect as a tool in itself. You can force. Well, it's not even a force, really. It's they genuinely get a free choice.
That's great, and it's not a card trick, which is also awesome.
It's not a card trick, no. And it's got a colourful element to it, so it's vibrant. The nice thing is people, they can look down and they'll see all of the different locations. These 64 locations around the world, they will see all of them and know them all to be different. You know, so they'll see all kinds of places. They'll see Angkor Wat. They'll see the Leaning Tower of Pisa. They'll see, I'm trying to think of other places, the pyramids. They'll see all of these different places that they'll know. And some of them will trigger memories as to places that they've been, the nostalgic feelings. But just talking about travel and is hot. That's a hot ticket right now with COVID. This is great. I know we've just missed out on the festive period, but this over the festive period with friends and family is perfect. But next time you're on a video call with friends and family, even if you're not a professional performer and you just want to do you do this as a hobby and just enjoy it with friends and family, this is great for down the pub when that's allowed again due to COVID. Or if you're doing a video call with your relatives and you want to just make them smile, you know, you send them the image via a link, they can click the image, look at it on their phone while you're watching them, and you know, completely hands off, not touching anything, know exactly what they're thinking of, which is pretty cool, which is a nice thing to do for your family. And the price point's pretty sweet as well. So
Yeah,
some of my books and things.
$16.99. It's crazy.
Yeah, $16.99. So it's it's probably, what's that, less than a cup of coffee these days.
Yeah, I mean that. Depending on the place you go, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean that's honestly, Paul. That's got. I can't wait to delve into this and find out how it works. And this sounds like it's right up my street. I like doing stuff on my phone anyway. And my one issue with doing stuff on my phone is 90% of the apps I use. If I haven't got Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or internet, I'm screwed. And I perform at a lot of country houses and wedding venues in the middle of nowhere that haven't got any signal at all. Oh, yeah. And to be able to have something that I can put on my phone, regardless of signal quality, that's important.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. It does make a big difference. And the fact that it's always with you, that can give you a level of security, especially if you're just starting out, or if you haven't quite got your confidence. You're out there, you're dabbling, you're a magician, but you're dipping your foot in the mentalism world. This is perfect for you. You'll be able to go out there with confidence and do a mini miracle. I mean, just think about the last card trick that you did, where someone chose a card and you told them what it was, or you located it. That was a 1 in 52 chance, and you blew their mind away. I know you did, because you're great. I know you. I know it. But this is a 1 in 64 chance. It's more improbable than a card trick, and it's got meaning to it because it's to do with locations around the world and holidaying and things like that. Again, you don't need to take that presentation. You can use your own, but you've got that in your pocket, ready to go. All the confidence, works 100% of the time, guaranteed. With all the more amazement than a deck of cards, it's pretty much a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned anyway.
No, I can't wait to get this back into the studio and give it a full review. Now, you can get this. The only place to get this, like pretty much all of your material, is heknows.co.uk, www.heknows.co.uk. It's going to be at the bottom of the screen right now. And there's going to be a link in the description. That's where you go and you get immediate access. You buy it and you get immediate access to the PDF and the image and everything. All right?
Yeah, that's it.
And while people are there, a little birdie tells me you've got like 7 routines at the moment that you're giving away for free.
Yes.
Which is mental. Can you very quickly mental. Like that? Yeah, I mean, that's just bonkers. So, and we're not talking about little half-assed ideas here. We're talking about fully fleshed out routines, right? And people can access that for free.
Yeah, it's free. It's something that I wanted to do during COVID. I wanted to release a number of my ideas from my notebooks that I've always thought were cool, and I thought, let's release these to the community free of charge, and it's just going to bring a bit of love back, give people a passion for mentalism again. It's been a terrible time for all of us in some way, shape, or form, and I just thought it'd be nice to do it for people. I had some spare time to write, obviously due to lack of performing, so that's what I did. And they are fully written books. I don't write books on the half. I do them well. There's citations, references, images where images are applicable. So yeah, easy to understand. One of the routines, Murder in the Matrix, that one is a PDF download where you have downloadable props included, high resolution, high quality props that you can print off at home or have printed off at a printer's, and that's completely free. There's another one if you like your virtual stuff called Photobomb, where you do a routine over the camera, like between you and someone else, and they could be part of a virtual show or just one-on-one. That's pretty cool. There's another one to do with a number of fingers on a hand thrown up and getting that right. Again, 7 completely free effects that you can go, and if you've never heard of me, that's fine. I live under a rock. I live on Mars. It's okay. But if you've not heard of me, you can go and you can taste some of the materials that I've released, not literally, but you can get a taste of the kind of stuff that I've produced, and it doesn't cost you a single thing. You do have to log in to get them, but I mean that's no biggie. But you don't have to even be on a newsletter. But there is a little newsletter when you sign up to
and your newsletter, yeah, and your newsletter is great.
Oh,
like
thanks.
you send even more free content to people. It's not like every day you spam people with sales stuff. It's not like that at all.
You're not going to get that from me. I've got a really low unsubscribe rate just because I only send out when I have something to say, and I make it fun, and I share a bit of what's going on in my life. Sometimes I even include like funny gifs of myself or gifs, just to make people laugh. Because that's what it's about, isn't it? We're all entertainers. We all want to make each other happy.
Exactly.
Not in a lewd way. I mean, sometimes in a lewd way, but not always.
Absolutely. So, Paul, thank you so much. There is going to be a full interview coming with Paul soon on Magic TV. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to swing things back to the studio, and we're going to break down the whole product, and we're going to talk about exactly what we think. I'm going to give it a review. But one more time, Paul, thank you so much for coming on here today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Craig. It's been great.
So first of all, thank you, Mr. Paul Brook, for coming on the channel. He is a very busy man, so the fact he found time to do this is great. Now, when you buy the product, what you get, basically, is you get the actual image, but you get two images. You get the image, and you get a slightly different version of the image that you can send to people in a virtual show. And that's important because Paul has created this so it works brilliantly virtually. So you can actually, if you're doing a virtual show, and people are saying, oh, who does virtual shows anymore? Lots of people do, trust me. If you're doing a virtual show, you can actually either send this over to a particular person, so you can bring somebody up onto the screen with you, and you can send this image over to them so that they can see the image. You can get them to send you via chat their mobile number, and then you can just message them over the thing, or you can send it to them ahead of time. So you could say to the client, I'm going to send you an image, can you please forward it to whoever you want to have help with this particular trick, for example. There's lots of different ways of doing it, and then during the course of the thing, you get them to do, look at the image, and you basically virtually will tell them where they're thinking of. And that image is slightly different because when they look at it later, they won't see what the method is at all. Okay, the one that you put on your phone doesn't have to be like that, because obviously when you've got it on your phone, you give them the image, they zoom in, you switch the phone off, they switch the phone off, and then you tell them what they're thinking of. So you don't need, and then they're not going to take the phone back and look at the image. And if they did, they could look at it for a few minutes, no problem, but you're not going to let them keep the image. So it's less of an issue with that. Let's look at a performance of it first of all, so you can see exactly how this plays. Because when I first heard about this, I was like, right, there's going to be lots of procedure. It's going to be like a forcing matrix or some sort of forcing grid built into a photo. It's going to be something like that. It's nothing like that. It's incredible. There's no procedure to it at all. So let me quickly do a performance of it, and then when I've done a performance, I'll talk about what I think. Anyway, you're going to help me.
Okay.
Now, one of the worst things about COVID, I mean, there's lots of really terrible things that's happened because of the pandemic.
Bad, yeah.
But one of the worst things from my personal point of view is the inability to go to another country or even leave the country.
No holidays.
I like traveling. I like just going away, and going on business trips or going on holidays.
This is a really depressing trick so far, dude.
I'm sorry, but it's true. It's true. That's the worst thing. So I've got here a little picture of loads of different places, loads of different images, iconic images from places around the world, right? And we're going to try and do something here. This is going to call mental tours. We're going to call this.
Okay.
And we're going to play a little travel game. Now, there's 4 points, and you can see there. Number 1, turn off auto rotate, which I've done. And you can play this game yourself. So take the phone. Okay. I think point number 2 is hold the phone. So make sure you hold it correctly.
Hold your device in an upright position.
It's like being on an airplane, isn't it?
It is.
Please store your trays in an upright position and put your head between your legs and kiss your arse goodbye. Make sure I can't see, so keep it up there.
Okay.
Point number 3.
Choose a ticket number between 1 and 16.
There's a whole stack of ticket numbers around the outside, so pick any one that you want to.
Okay.
You done that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And I think the next point is make sure that you can
turn your device until your ticket is in the correct way up.
Do that then. Have you done it?
Oh, it is.
Okay,
yeah.
great. Next
okay.
one.
Travel to the triangle with the same ticket number and colour.
Okay, do that then.
Travel to, zoom in on.
Yeah, zoom in to find the correct ticket number and colour. Because there's hundreds of images on there. I think there's almost 100 images. So it might take you a while to find it. If you zoom in.
I did it. Yeah, I got it.
Okay, so do you recognise that image?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. That's an image that you recognise?
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Lock it into your mind. Actually, let's make it even more complicated. Rather than thinking of the image, think of the place that image makes you think about.
Okay.
Is there an image that makes you, like if I saw Big Ben, for example, I'd think of London?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Switch it off.
Switch it off.
Yeah, and you hold on to the phone.
Okay.
And you can switch it off. And do you know how to switch your phone off?
Yeah.
I know you're not an iPhone user.
I'm
There's a
not
button
an
at the
iPhone
side.
guy.
You
Yeah,
just
I've
press
done it. I've done it. It's off.
It's fairly simple, to be honest. Right. Mind reading time. I'm going to try and read your mind. Okay, here we go. Concentrate on this place. Concentrate on this place. Look at me. Concentrate. Concentrate.
Yeah.
Concentrate, because you are thinking of a place, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, some of the images might make you think of a country. Some of the images might make you think of a city. You're actually thinking of a city, aren't you? You're thinking of a city, not a country. You were thinking of a country, but then you actually thought the image that you're thinking of makes you think of a country, but it makes you think of a particular place in the country, a particular city. Is that right?
Yeah.
And this is somewhere that you've been to? Have you been? Yeah, you've been here. And you either want to go back or you've been more than once, or is it both? Have you been more than once?
Yeah.
And you want to go back, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Concentrate on the name of the city. Yeah, it's not in England, is it? It's like really far away.
It's quite far.
Okay. Concentrate on the name of the... Oh, that's interesting. You went back and forth. So there's two parts to this. There's two words. There's two words, isn't there? There's two words. Would you like us to start with the second word or the first word?
Second.
The second word. Okay, concentrate on the second word.
Yeah.
Think of it.
Yeah.
Think of a letter in the middle of that second word.
Okay.
Kind of weird. You went back and forth between like an O and an R, didn't you? Did you settle on the R? You did, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. Look at me.
Dude. Yeah.
That's weird. I'm getting a real image of Sunday dinner. Does that mean anything to you? Sunday dinner?
Sunday dinner.
Oh, I know. Not Sunday dinner, a particular part of the Sunday dinner, a Yorkshire pudding. You're thinking of, no, not Yorkshire, York. You're thinking of York. York, but you said it wasn't in England. So, and there was another word. The first word. Now that makes sense. You're thinking of New York in America. That's his pissed off face. Right there, just so you know. No idea. Just no clue. Anyway,
You need to stop like the tricks and stuff of this reading my mind stuff. It's breaking me out.
so there you go. That is the trick, and that is how it plays every single time. It plays like that every single time, and the method is genius. What the method is it's layered. So there's several different factors at play here. There's not just one thing, and part of the method. Because I thought when he started talking, because what you get with this is you get a video that's about 15 minutes long, which is a brief overview of it. And then you get a PDF with additional ideas. And don't overlook the PDF, because the PDF is really important. When you watch the PDF, when you read the PDF, there's a lot of other ideas that you can get in there, which really take it to the next level. But when I was watching the tutorial, the video, which I did first, I was like, okay, there's going to be some fishing involved here. I can't see how he'd half explained the method. And so I knew basically how it worked, but I was like, there's going to have to be some fishing here. I can't see how he can do this without fishing. And then he went through the thing and I was like, oh my God, that's so clever. That is so clever. And I've never seen anything like that before. The way that the way that you get the information, and genuinely, you could be looking over there and you could come back and you don't need to take the phone, you don't need to touch the phone, there's no special app or anything like that. It is literally one photo. I am going to be performing the hell out of this. I've set up a special folder in my phone just for this one image, and I love this. I think this is as strong as many apps. It really is. Now, there's a few different ways you could do this. You could just do it as a great opener to a mentalism set. This is a really great opener. It's got a strong hook from the very, very beginning. Hey, who likes traveling? Who's missed traveling the last year and a half? Yeah, I have, haven't I? Yeah, we all have, right? Well, I've got a picture, an image here. It's got like loads of different places that you can actually go and visit. Do you want to take my phone and have a look at that? Right, let's try and do something. So there's lots of there's lots of ways that you can actually reel them in with it, but it can be a very quick trick because in essence you're just saying, have a look at an image. I'm going to tell you what the image is. So it makes a great opener, but it also works really well in the context of a longer routine. So if you're doing like a one ahead type thing, you can incorporate this into a one ahead type thing. If you were doing a confabulation type thing of maybe you're going on holiday and this is the spending money you've got and this is the flight that you're going with or something like that, this is a great way to actually build this into that routine. So this has opportunities beyond just the performance of the trick. You can integrate it into lots of different other routines, which in my opinion is one of the things that makes this so strong. That and the fact that it's super commercial. It's easy to do. You can literally learn it after doing the 15-minute video without looking at the PDF, but again, you should look at the PDF. So it's easy to do. There's no table required. It happens completely in the spectator's hands. It's an instant reset. It's examinable. It's really strong. Like, it's just what's not to love. And as I say, I could see this. You know how I love the idea of doing this and then going into Cognito, doing this and then saying, well, you know what? We did something with one image on my phone. Let's try and do something with a few different images and then going into Cognito, because you guys know I love Cognito. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to hate about this trick. This trick is incredible. I absolutely love it. To have something, you know, we talk about everyday carry here all the time on Magic TV, right? To have something that you can have on your phone, one single image, no special app, one single image. You have one single image on your phone and you are ready to do this trick at the moment's notice, which is a really strong trick with a great hook. Why wouldn't you want to do this? This is 100%. I highly recommend that you get this. The only place that you can get this is from Brook. So stop what you're doing. Stop the video. Danny can wait. Go onto Paul's website. Buy this. You will not regret it. It's very cheap. I think it's like £10, I think, or something like that. It's very cheap, but it is really good. So stop what you're doing. Go buy that. And then when you've done that, come back and join me, because we're about to chat with Danny Weiser. So let's talk about Twister by Danny Weiser. This has been a highly anticipated trick. If you don't know what it is basically a Sharpie dog. It's a Sharpie pen that has been injection molded to look like a balloon dog. That's what we have here. So a balloon dog designed to look like a Sharpie marker. That's what the routine is. That's what the gimmick is, basically. And then you get a download teaching you all the different ways that you can actually use this prop. But all of the different ways basically involve taking a pen and turning it into a balloon dog, as you would expect. Now, before we do anything, I'm going to have a chat with Danny Weiser. Danny has created some amazing magic through the years. I didn't even realise how much magic Danny had done until I actually sat down with him and chatted to him about this, because there is an interview with Danny coming soon on Magic TV, a full interview, not just this mini interview. But in this interview, we sit down and we chat specifically about this trick, why he came up with it, all the different theory about it, and so on and so forth. So let's have a look at the mini interview with Danny, then I'll bring everything back into the studio and we'll give it a full review. So Danny, how are you doing, man? You okay?
I'm doing great. I'm doing awesome. How about yourself?
Good. And I have to say congratulations, because this thing has only been out for a couple of days and people are buzzing about it. Like, I know that a product is going to be good when I get like people contacting me saying, are you going to review this? And I woke up literally one morning to about 20 or 30 emails from people and messages and Facebook messages and comments on YouTube going, what do you think of Twister? What do you think of Twister? What do you think of this? This looks interesting. Do you think it's any good? I'm like, man, okay, this is something that everyone's paying attention to. So
that's awesome.
The buzz is there. And I have to tell you, when I saw it, and you know I'm a fan of your material and you know I'm a fan of pretty much everything that you do. When I saw it, I was, for the first time ever, I was a little bit pissed off with Danny Weiser. And the reason I was like, I should have thought of this. Why did I not think of it? Because it's so simple when you think about it as a concept. But no one else has thought of it. And it takes somebody like you to come up with this idea. And it's so clever. It's really clever.
Thank you. Thank you. Now you're being more conscious of your hand position.
Yeah, Danny told me just off camera that I do a particular hand grip, and I wasn't even aware of it. So I'm now self-conscious about showing my hands.
No. Don't be self-conscious. Don't be self-conscious. It's not bad. It's not bad. Yeah, man. I'm super excited. I'm super excited to have Twister out. It's been a long time coming. We've had a lot of hiccups along the way. It's been in the works for over 5, maybe 6 years or so. And with Vortex, who's the production company that I worked with, been over 2-3 years in just production. Obviously, COVID has lent to a lot of delays, but it's finally here. Even we had it planned to come out in like January of 2022, but we were able to get it in a little bit sooner, and we pushed it to be before the new year, which is awesome, just in time for Christmas.
Exactly right. And where did the concept come about from? Because it is such a unique idea. Where did you get this idea from?
Really good question. So one of my biggest pet peeves is, like, as a magician, I always get asked, like, oh, you're a magician, you know how to juggle, right? Like, it's just like a known thing. Or like, yeah, you're a magician, you must do balloon animals. Like, no, I'm not a clown. Not saying that magicians who do that are clowns, but that's just not a skill set that I do. So I always wanted to like kind of like be snarky about it and be like, yeah, I do balloons, and like take back like one of the Sharpies that I've been using, or take back a Sharpie from a routine that I'm using and be like, boom, and turn it into a Sharpie balloon dog. Because, this looks like one of those long balloons. If you just have it straight, it looks like one of those long balloons. I don't know. I just like quirky magic. And I think that that's just like something that's quirky, and someone will remember that, and you'll stand out from the crowd, not just having another card trick. And I think when it comes to being a performer, it's, how are you different than other magicians? Like, what makes you different? You have to be unique. And I think having a unique presentation or a unique ending to a story, like, they'll never forget you.
For sure, 100%. And you've gone through lots of prototypes for this. You're telling me that could you show us some of those prototypes, Danny? Would that be okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Before I show you like the 3D printed ones, I did have one that we made out of clay initially, because I wanted to this was like 6 years ago. Like, I made it out of clay, colored it and all that stuff. But over time it dried up and cracked and broke. So I had someone eventually 3D design one for me, and I've had them 3D printed over the years. So aside from the clay one, this was the initial like 3D prototype. And this is made of, this is a 3D printed material, like a laser bed printing of some sort. It's all about the details though, and the sizing, which made it like me a little bit obsessive about it, because I wanted it to be like, if I jumbled up a Sharpie marker into a balloon dog, that's what it would look like, right?
Yeah.
So we had the cap made to exact specifications. It's a little bit shorter because the idea is that when you twist up and make it into a balloon dog, that the cap would be a part of the balloon dog and you won't be able to pull it. You know what I mean? Also the width of the body and the diameter, as well as the tail, which I wanted to have that little balloon nipple at the end, because that just kind of just seals the deal of a balloon. When you see that, you know exactly what that is. So this was the initial one, just to make sure I get all the measurements down. We had one where like the cap kind of went into the body. I didn't like how it looked, so we ended up with this design. Then we sent this off to the manufacturer to have it replicated so we can have it injection molded, which is the final design. But we went through a couple of different materials, because I wanted to see, well, for one, what the materials would be like if we tried different materials and the durability of them. I also wanted it done in one piece. So depending on the materials that we went with, made a difference whether or not it could be done in one piece. So another material that we did was in of like a more flexible material. So this one actually kind of flexes and moves, which is kind of cool. But when I took this one specifically out to road test, perform for spectators, like a Sharpie is hard, right?
Yeah.
The magic part is twisting it and then handing it out, and it's back to being a Sharpie material, right? That's the magic part. So I didn't want the magic to leave and not let it stay as like a Sharpie hard, like a hard Sharpie. So I opted against not having it become mobile and flexible. I wanted it to stay stiff. So we stayed with this material, well, the injection molded material, but completely stiff. And obviously colored and have the Sharpie logo on it and so on. But yeah, this has been a long time coming. I'm pretty proud of it. I think it's neat. Yeah,
It's a great idea. I mean, outside of doing it as a magic trick, and it's an amazing magic trick, it also make a great talking point if people just saw it around your house or on your office desk or something.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't bought one yet, but I want to get like this oscillating, like it has batteries in it, but like a little display case for it. So I can put it on my mantle and have it on all the time and have people who come over be like, hey, what's that? And then I can show them. It's a nice talking piece and it's a nice desk piece as well, but it can also be used as a magic prop.
It's the sort of thing that you could sell to lay people and you'd find it in some sort of those shops that sell like weird and wonderful objects.
Novelty, like a novelty item.
Yeah, it's the sort of thing that you'd see in there that people would buy as well.
Yeah.
But in terms of magic trick, it's great. My question is, would you ever consider doing refills? Because, I mean, one trick that I do an awful lot of is Henry Harris's Cuban bottle. And I'm happy to pay like $10, $15, $20 for a Cuban bottle in order to give that to that person as a magical souvenir. It's paid off for me tenfold. I would buy refills for this because I know I'm going to use this. I have a few different ways that I'm going to use this. And I would love to be in a situation where I could actually give this out as a souvenir.
So that's a great question. And we discussed this before in terms of units, right? So we have a limited number of units that we've manufactured because of the costs and the insane inflation of costs that have occurred throughout COVID. So we have a limited number of units available. So we've only have 500 units currently made. And the reason they are priced at the price that they are at, which is relatively inexpensive for a magic prop, I think it's retailing for $30, $29.99, was because of the small amount that we had to do for the run. If we did 10,000 of them, yeah, it'd be cheaper, but there wasn't a large volume need for it at the time. But I'm sure if we sell out of the 500 and we're able to put in another order and say it exceeds that 10,000 amount, I'm sure we'd be able to get the price down a little bit to potentially do refills. But when I've created this, I didn't create it with the intention to do it as a refill type product, because the routine that I normally do is it's an ending, right, to like a set of, like if I did a set. So I would walk up to different tables and do my set, like I'd spend 10-15 minutes at one table at a time. And I use a Sharpie marker throughout the set. Let me see if I find it. I use a Sharpie marker throughout the set. I leave it on the table. Occasionally just look at it and be like, man, that's weird. Do you notice that? It's got like this like rubbery feel to it, right? Like keep like focusing on the fact that it looks like rubber. Put it down on the table, do another trick, have them sign something else, blah, 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 blah. Pick it up again. Oh, must be like one of those really flimsy, weak ones that they've been putting out. Either or, just put it down on the table, do another trick, boom, come back to it and be like, you know what, let me try something else, and then go ahead and turn it into a Sharpie marker, a Sharpie dog. And then you can either put that on the table, give it to them, or you'd be like, oh, I gotta go walk my dog, and then just leave. You know what I mean? Like, you have an excuse to take the dog with you. And if you're creative enough and are skilled enough to get yourself out of the dog and just take the dog and re-stretch it back into a Sharpie, now you're back into using it as a Sharpie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So my routine ends with just ending with the dog. I don't have it as stretching it back to become a Sharpie.
There's so many different ways that you could have it go back to a Sharpie very, very easily.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, what's really solid about the Sharpie dog itself is that the cap looks like a Sharpie.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, it looks
Sharpie cap. So the retention of vision is really huge when it comes to that. So when you take the Sharpie dog back and you want it to back switch for, you know, just a regular Sharpie, you're holding it as the cap here. You can just come up, you can sleeve the dog if you want, you know what I mean? I don't have sleeves on, but and then pull the Sharpie back out and stretch it. It can be done also.
That's great. And did you see that thing that came out through Vanishing Ink last year? And it was like little animals made out of what looked like, yeah, I mean, because I know that on the cafe, people have said, oh, the one thing I'm concerned about is if I did this and to a kid, restaurant, for example, and the kid going, oh, I want to have it. And you as the magician go, well, you can't, tough. One way around it is to use that Vanishing Ink thing, which I love anyway. And then, you know, turning back into a pen, putting the pen away. Oh, did you want one? Well, you know, let me see if I can do one with a balloon by magic. And then going into that and giving them that little balloon dog. I think that would be a way to get around that. You know, there's so many presentational ideas that you could have with this. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can go with it. It really is a very clever idea. Like I say, I wish I'd thought of it. It's so clever.
Thank you. I think it's a good tool, right? You as the magician can come up with plethora of different ways to utilize this tool, right? I mean, we do give a couple of routines on the download, as well as different handlings. But that's just the start. You know, it's like we're just giving you the boost. I think you can do like digital force bag stuff, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. 100%. Like there's so much stuff you can do. There's so much stuff you can do. It's crazy. And I think that's the power. And I think that the best routine for this hasn't even been created yet. I think someone's going to buy it and go, whoa, and come up with some amazing stuff.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what I want out of my magic stuff, is to not just hand you a routine and just you do it. I want to hand you a tool and you come up with your own. Obviously, I'm going to give you something to start with, but I want you to make it your own. I want you to do something with it that no one else is doing with it. Be you, not be Danny Weiser's routine or Matt Johnson's routine or Bizarro's routine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what, Danny, I'm super impressed by this.
Thank you.
Continue to amaze me with the stuff that you bring out. You really do. I think this is going to be in the working sets of a lot of magicians.
I hope so.
Yeah, no, it really is. It really is. It's, you know, I know that you've put some stuff together on the tutorial, which is great, but there's so much more you can do with this. So yeah, it's killer. I absolutely love it. I'm going to go back into the studio now. I'm going to give it a full review, but thank you very much for joining me right here. I really appreciate it.
Of course, dude. I appreciate it. I hope Rylan likes it too.
Oh, he's going to lose his mind over it. This is his two favorite things are magic with Sharpies and balloon modeling. You put those two together, it's going to be amazing.
That's awesome. Good. I'm glad.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to go back to the studio.
Thanks for having me. Of course.
Thanks a lot, Danny. I'll see you soon. All right. Take care.
Absolutely. Have a good one.
Okay, so first of all, thank you, Danny, for jumping on Magic TV and joining me. Now, I want to address the elephant in the room. I've spoken to a couple of people that have had, and I've seen a couple of people have issues with this prop on the internet for a couple of different reasons. The first reason people have an issue with it is they say that it breaks, or a couple of them have broken. I've not seen that at all. Somebody said to me the cap of the pen, the sort of the bit that you use to clip, the clip on the pen snapped off. I haven't had that. I've been playing with this now for about 2 or 3 weeks. The clip hasn't broken off on mine. That's all I can say. And I've been going through the paces with this thing and then some. And then I've had a few other people say to me, well, they don't like the material it's made from, and it should be made out of the same material as a Sharpie marker, and it's not made out of the same material. And I kind of understand where you're coming from there. But as Danny said in the interview, I think his original concept of it was that you've loosened it all up, and then after it's solidifying, it's become like solid. I don't think that's too much of an issue. If it's an issue for you, then it's an issue for you. It's not an issue for me. So both of those things don't really impact on my review. Just because I haven't experienced, I don't think that the material that the pen is made out of is an issue, and I also don't. No one's ever said that the whole thing's broken, just the clip. And you could snap the clip off a pen and then they would match. And I'm not saying that's ideal at all in any way, shape or form. And if your clip has broken, absolutely go and speak to your dealer. But it's a very small percentage of people that have said it's broken. I've spoken to lots of people that have said it's absolutely fine. But I just wanted to address that. So what do I think of the actual thing? I love it. I think it's great. I love when I saw it. I was like, "Damn! I wish I'd come up with that." It's one of those ideas that I wish I'd come up with. Now, the tutorial is fronted by Paul Romani, who is a fantastic performer, and Paul's great. And then you've got guest spots from various different magicians, starting off with the legend himself, Matt Johnson, who obviously is an escapologist now, doesn't really do much magic, and yet they got him here on this project, which is great. And Matt goes through how to basically turn a pen into a balloon dog, and he talks about how to do it without actually sleeving, because a lot of the methods that you would think of with this involve sleeving the pen. Paul then later on, and I like Matt's idea of he kind of really slowly does it, so he takes the pen and slowly starts to shape it, which is great. Paul has some various ideas of ditching the pen as you're doing body turns, which is really good as well. The one thing that I was a bit disappointed with when it came to the tutorial is that there were no routine ideas, no ideas when it comes to routining. I think they leave that to your imagination. They were really focused on how to make a pen turn into a dog. Now, for me, my favorite way of turning a pen into a dog is to do it basically very visually. So you take the dog, you take the pen, you do that, and just do a flip stick style vanish, and you've got the dog there. I've played around with doing it slowly. I actually prefer, for my style, going boom and changing it very, very quickly. But I think that's the nice thing about this project. It can be, however you want it to be. For me, I love that visual moment of the pen turning into the dog. But if you prefer to do it slowly, for sure you can do it slowly. In terms of routining ideas, the way that I plan on doing this, and for me, the best way to do this would be to have, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to make it out of cards, or digital force bag. And I'm going to run a performance for you in a second so you can see this. But the whole idea is that the hook line would be, I create a lot of my own magic, and a lot of people ask me how you create magic. Well, the answer is very simple. You just have a whole bunch of ideas of props that you can use, a whole bunch of ideas of concepts and routines in magic, and you pick a couple of them at random, and you kind of go, well, I wonder what I could do here. Let me give you an example. And then you have digital force bags set up, so it's got a whole bunch of different magical items like rabbit, hat, blah, 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 and it forces Sharpie, and a whole bunch of different things that can happen in magic, like teleportation, levitation, this, that, and the other, loads of different stuff, and it forces balloon modeling. So, the concept would be, well, okay, let's pick from this list. What have we got? We've got a Sharpie. Okay, well, I've got a Sharpie, that's good. What's on this list? It's balloon modeling. Man, I haven't even got any balloon models. What can I do how can I do that? Sharpie the balloon dog? okay, I've got an idea, and then kind of go into it that way. And I think that would give it more, more of an impossibility, if that kind of makes sense. I think it would make it more impossible, purely because then it feels like they've made all the choices, and you're coming up with this thing off the cuff, if that makes sense. So I'm going to run a performance of this now. So have a look at this performance, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And then after the performance, we'll wrap the whole review up. So Matt,
Yes, sir.
we're going to do something with a phone, because when people see me do magic, one of the things they say is to say Craig, because that's my name. Craig.
That is
They
your
say,
name.
yeah, they say Craig. Where do you learn your magic from? And sometimes I buy tricks, but a lot of the time I create my own tricks, and a lot of people find that interesting. How do you create your own magic? Now, what process do you go through? How do you find the inspiration? And how can you just create a magic trick? So how I do it, it's very, very simple. I have, I'm always on the road, so I have stuff on my phone. I have lists on everything. When I get an idea, I write it in a list, and I've got hundreds of ideas that I'm constantly working on.
Okay.
But I have two particular lists that I always go back to again and again. And the first list is a list of common objects that magicians might use. And there's 100 different objects. Everything from packs of cards, to rabbits, to chainsaws, to giant metal boxes. Everything.
Okay.
Because I do stage shows as well. Now, the other list...
Where?
Yeah, the other list is a list of all of the different plots in magic. So you've got levitation, making something float; transposition, making two things change places; transmogrification, making something change into something else; mentalism, mind reading. There's loads of different things. There's 100 different plots in magic. Some of them are sensible, some of them are silly. Things like contact juggling, things like actual juggling. Custard pie throwing is in there as well. So there's a whole bunch of different things, right?
Okay.
And what I'll do when I'm struggling for an idea, I'll think of a random number, and I'll look on one list, and I'll look on the other list, and then that will help me come up with two things, and I have to try and work out a way of putting them together. Let me show you what I mean. We're going to work off which list would you like to work off first? The list of common items. I'm going to show you how this creativity process would work.
Okay.
So would you like should we work off the list of common items for magicians first of all, or plots in magic?
Let's go plots in magic.
Plots in magic. Give me a number from 1 to 100.
28.
Do you want to change your mind?
No.
You can change your mind if you want to. I don't mind.
No.
You're happy with the
we'll go
mind you got.
28.
I don't want you saying later on I made you pick 28. I don't want you saying later on I cheated. I am going to cheat. I just don't want you to.
I know you
yeah,
do.
Yeah, exactly. There's my notes page, and you can see right there common plots in magic, right?
Yeah.
So you take that and go to 28 and just tell everyone what the common plot is in magic right there.
Balloon modelling.
Balloon modelling.
That's what it
Well,
said.
I'm not the greatest balloon, and you can see they're all different. It's not balloon modelling on every one, because when I'm coming up with ideas for tricks, I'll just delve into that list. There's a whole bunch of different stuff there.
Fire eating.
Yeah. I was a fire eater back in the day.
Did you work in the circus by any chance?
Right?
He's a bit of a clown in his act.
It is true. So we got balloon modelling, which is a challenge because I'm not the greatest balloon modeller in the world, but I'll make it work. So now we need to go for the common items in magic, and we're going to pick an item. Okay.
Yeah.
So again, do you want to stick with 27, or do you want to go with a different number?
42.
Are you sure?
Why not?
Want to change your mind?
Nope.
You're happy with 42?
Yeah.
Because I know what's going to happen later on. You're going to be thinking, what would have happened if I changed my mind? Okay, give me a choice. Over there, you can see you've got it. There you go. Do me a favour, just tell everybody what is at 42. What you got?
A Sharpie.
A Sharpie marker.
Yeah. It's
Really?
a random common object, I suppose, isn't
Well,
it?
it's also something that a lot of magicians use, to having signed cards, so that's why it's in the list. But Sharpie marker. Could I make a balloon into a Sharpie marker? We've got some balloons down in the warehouse. I could give that a go.
Have you always got Sharpies
I've
on?
always got a Sharpie marker. As a magician, you've always got to have a Sharpie marker on you. I mean, you can't not have a Sharpie marker.
Anybody in the office goes, anyone got a Sharpie?
Yeah, I've got like
Every
5
day,
of them. Yeah.
innit?
I always carry a mini Sharpie around with me, always. But you want to be careful with it because it's a little Sharpie. It's a little Sharpie. It's a joke. It's not funny.
I noticed how comedy wasn't on the list.
Yeah, no, not at all. So I have to do
Go on,
something.
Sharpie balloon models. Go
Okay,
for it.
you ready?
You want to turn a plastic pen
Well,
into
yeah,
a
I mean,
balloon.
if I was going to do that, it would. it would look something like that. I mean, does that look a little bit like...
What the fuck?
I mean, a little bit, right? Just tiny little bit like a... You said you wanted a... it looked like that. I mean, I got the nose quite well, I think. Notice the tail as well. I mean, I thought that was...
How sick's that?
It's literally a dog made out of a Sharpie.
There you go. The only problem is it doesn't write anymore.
Why?
Well, because it's a pen. It never was a- Can I tell you how it works?
It's a real. What?
No, the whole thing's an illusion.
That's sick.
No, none of it
I
was
want a
real.
Sharpie dog.
No, it's not. Oh, hang on, sorry, it's right there. I'll put it. No, sorry, it's over there. Look, if I do this, you know where it went? Behind your ear. If I do this, it's on my skin. Look at that! It's
want
on
a
my
Sharpie
skin,
dog.
and it turned blue.
That's amazing.
It's ridiculous.
That's amazing.
Can I have my Sharpie back there? Actually, you want to look at the dog? Let's do that. Starting to piss myself off right now. So yeah, I love this. The one negative that I would say, and it's something that's worth noting, is I think if you do this in a restaurant with a kid, or you do this in a wedding with a kid, they're going to want to keep that thing, and you can't let them keep that thing. It's impossible. You can't let them keep the balloon dog. They're too expensive. What you can do, buy 100 of them in and just give them out. So there's a couple of different options here, if that's an issue, and I think that might be an issue for me. So you either just perform it for adults, or you come up with a solution. So the first solution is you turn it back into a Sharpie, which, if using my method, is fairly simple because you've just made it turn into a dog. You could then very, very easily either use a top it. You've still got the pen palmed here, so you've still got the pen palmed here. You could either do a top it as you come up, or you can just do a body turn as you turn to somebody over here and go, "Isn't that weird? You ever seen anything like that before?" It's an illusion. It's not real. Look, and you just do a reverse flipstick move. So you do the ditch as you turn to the person on the left, then come back and do that, and you say, "Well, the whole thing's an illusion. It's not real." But I tell you what, you grab one of your mum and dad's pens and you try and do it tonight and see what happens. And I think that would be a way out of it. Turn it back into a pen for sure. I don't think that's a problem at all. The other thing is, Vanishing Ink marketed these animals. Or animinimals, if you remember them, about a year ago. I've got an absolute ton of them right there behind me. I love them. And it's basically little mini balloon animals. And I think you could follow this with that. So rather than giving it away, you could put it away and say, "Well, I can't give you that because, it's mine. But I tell you what, would you like me to make you a balloon dog by magic?" "Yeah, well, I've got a balloon here." Most people blow them up, right? I don't. You've seen what I can do with a pen. I can do it with this. Look, I can just mould it and boom, 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 and then you just give them that. And I think that would be a nice giveaway. It'll bring the routine full circle, and it's just a nice way of doing it. So I think bringing animinimals into it would work really well. The other thing that you could do is you could actually turn the balloon dog turn the Sharpie dog into an animinimal. So you've got your balloon dog, right? You've got your Sharpie dog, and you show the Sharpie dog and everything's cool, and then you say, of course, you're probably going to want to keep this, and you've already got your animinimal in palm. You just do a shuttle pass, and you say, hold your hand out, and as you do, you ditch that, and you go, look, the thing is, it is really just a balloon model. It never was a pen to begin with. And you drop it in their hand, and it's turned into a balloon dog that you can then give out as a souvenir. And this is my problem with the project. My problem with the project is not the quality of the pen. My problem with the project is not the instructions on how to do it. That's very good. My problem is, I think there could have been way more. They could have spent more time on thinking about routines. They could have spent more time on, I've just sat here for a few minutes and thought through stuff. And already I'm talking about, hey, why don't you do this? And why don't you do that? And why don't you do the other? Surely they could have thought about it a little bit more rather than just kind of release the trick. As it is, they've released the trick and it's a really good trick. And I'd highly recommend it to anybody. But I just think, you've obviously got Paul Romani here, you've obviously got Matt Johnson here, you've got Danny Weiser here. You stick all three of those on a Zoom call for an hour, I bet you can have a whole bunch of routining ideas. So that's my only negative with it. But yeah, it's a great product. It's really, really good. It's highly recommended. Highly, highly recommended. I'm going to give it, what am I going to give it? I'm going to give it 98%. I think it's really good, and I think that anybody who buys it will not be disappointed. I might do a Hows and Whys of this at some point, because I've got a whole bunch of other ideas with this that I think would be really smart, and yeah, really, really smart. Like, you know that Blake Voigt thing where you've got what is it? Acro index, right? So if you don't know what the acro index is, it's basically a flat card on an index card, so you can show it, and just by shaking it, it can change whatever's on there, right? I like the idea, and I'm playing around with this, of drawing a Sharpie marker on an acro index card, so that when I shake it, the Sharpie marker will disappear. So on the first one, you've got a Sharpie marker that will disappear, and then you get a second one, and on the second one, there's nothing on there. The second one, there's nothing on there, but when you shake it, there's a little Sharpie balloon dog that's drawn on there that's just like that Sharpie. So the whole idea is you have both of those in your pocket, and what you do is you reach in and you take the first one out and you go, this is an index card, let me show it you, and you show it and it's got a Sharpie marker on it. I drew a Sharpie marker on there, and what you do is you take this Sharpie marker and you've got your acro index and you go, watch, and you just pull the pen off it, which would look amazing. You could then put this away, do some pen manipulation, and that's the other thing you can do with this, by the way. You can do some pen manipulation before you go into the actual Sharpie dog. So you do some pen manipulation, hand them the pen to look at, do the Sharpie thing where it turns into the Sharpie dog, and then this just gets ditched, and then while they're looking at the Sharpie dog, and you go, well, I need to put this back. And then you reach in and take out the other index card, and you pick this up and you do that. And as you do that, you just palm the dog, and it looks like it's gone back onto the index card, but now it looks like a Sharpie dog. And then you put that away, and you're instantly reset. You just ditch that into your pocket, and you're reset and ready to go again. So there's another example, and I could go through this forever. But if you guys want to see a Hows and Whys of the Twister, then let me know, because I've got ideas racing through my head of all the different things that you can do with it. So if you want to see a Hows and Whys of the Twister, let me know. But I'm going to give this 98%. I think it's really good. I think it's highly recommended. I think if you're a commercial close-up worker, you should absolutely get one. So there you go, guys. That is another review show special in the bag. Thank you for joining me here this Sunday evening. I really appreciate it. Don't forget, if you want to see more videos like this, you know what you got to do. Just like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, and I will get back to you ASAP. And also, don't forget, I'm going to be here again tomorrow on Monday with 3 videos, a 5x5 at 9 o'clock, a shorts at 2 o'clock, and at 6 o'clock, a Magic Live. And I'm going to be back here next Sunday at 9 o'clock with another review show special. Thanks very much for joining me again. You guys have an amazing Sunday evening. My name's Craig from Magic TV.